Hey, what's up? John Sonmez here. I got a weird question. You guys ready for a weird question? All right, let's talk about how to control sex desires. How about that? How's that for a weird question? So, let's see. I got an email from John, not my nickname and real name. It's interesting. Okay. And he says, how to control sex desires so that you have sex when you want, but not by desire. Okay, that's well put, eloquently put, I'd say. For now, I want to focus on productive activities without interrupted by sex desires. If there are any way of control it without having sex or masturbation, you can help. This problem makes me weak to girls because they can control me by sex. Isn't this the question? This is maybe the question for all guys here. Is how to overcome this. And I think if you could conquer this, you could probably conquer the world. So I've got some thoughts on this, of course, some ideas to think about here, which is, actually I'm going to recommend a book right off the bat here, which is a strange book. It's called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And there's actually a chapter in that on transmutation of sex desire into motivation, or transmutation of basically sex desire into work. So it's actually going to be useful. So you don't necessarily want to get rid of this. I was actually in a debate with a friend talking about this, and then we were actually talking, having a candid conversation, as men, right? Would you prefer to have a low libido, like a low sexual desire, or high one, right? Which is better, right? And there's pros and cons to either one, right? Because you'd say, heck, if I have a low libido, then I could just get shit done, be productive, and not have to deal with this crap that occupies 80% of my brain all the time, and causes me to do fucked up things, and to just to do stupid shit and not to be successful in life instead, and to be sad and all this stuff. Like, if I just didn't have that, then I'd be great. Then I could just fucking just play video games and focus on work and not worry about this other shit. Okay, but at the other hand, the thing is, that's some of the best shit in life. Like, some of the things that drive you and push you forward and make you actually have motivation is this desire, right? And it's not just the sexual desire, but it kind of is. It's like this desire as a man to conquer the world, to give to the world, to have things, to take things, to see what you want and to take it for yourself, right? And so that actually inspires you to do more than just have sex, right? So it kind of falls into the side of of this being a good thing, I think, not a bad thing. So what I would say is, don't try and get rid of this, but try and use this to your advantage, right? So how can you let this drive you instead of controlling you? I was listening to this really good television program. I mentioned it before. It's a Turkish program. It's subtitled. It's called Etergul. Maybe, I don't know if it's on Amazon or whatever. I don't know why I'm linking. We'll link to it if it's there. But in it, there was this one phrase, and maybe it's mistranslated, but it sounded really good the way it was said. So Etergul, he's the fucking warrior dude, right? And his mother is he's talking to her in the tent, they're in this nomad tent, and they're like nomads and whatnot. And she says to him, she says that desire that's in your that heart, or that horse that's wild and free, and instead of letting this girl sit on the saddle, why not you sit on the saddle? And I thought about that, and that's interesting. That's like, it's like, you've got this, because he was making this argument. He was saying to his mom, he's I got this desire, this one girl that I want. He's this Halime is this girl that he's after, right? And she's basically saying, instead of her being the only one who fits on that saddle, why don't you be the one who fits on the saddle, who sits on the saddle? And that made a lot of sense to me. And that's kind of the advice that I would give you here, which is basically this is look at this and say, look, okay, the desire is either going to control you or it's going to drive you, and you're going to control it. You see what I'm saying? And that's any desire, right? So you could have a desire for food. You could have a desire for wealth. You could have a desire for women. You could have a desire for sex. Whatever it is, whatever your desire is, it can either rule over you, or you can use it as a tool to drive you forward and to motivate you and push you forward and to make you accomplish great things, right? It's up to you to decide whether you're going to be in the saddle or not. So my answer to you, again, would just be don't try and quell this desire, okay? But to master it, to make it your bitch, okay? So that you can go out there and you can conquer. So how can you do this? How are some ways that you can do this? Well, you can imagine, what are the things that you want, right, out of this, right? Like, instead of like, again, you said at the end of the thing, you said the problem is to make me weak to girls because they can control me by sex. Well, what if that same urge, that same thing that you felt that women could use over you to control you by sex, what if instead you turned that around and you said that because you have this great desire, that you are going to become the kind of man that these women desire? What if that desire drove you to become a master of yourself, right? To have this discipline, to have this self-control. What if you took that and transmuted that into your work, into making sure that you create the best version of yourself possible, instead of allowing someone else to take the leash, and instead of allowing someone else to sit in the saddle? What if you sat in the saddle? What if you control that desire? What if you use that as an actual fuel? And I think, honestly, that's your only choice. I mean, are you really going to realistically get rid of this? And even if you do get rid of this, see, some people, this is the thing about desire, and I'll tell you just in general about desire, which is that, and we all experience this, right? Because you're fucking hungry, right? I'm really hungry right now. And what happens is that, I have some desire. That desire gets fulfilled, but it's only temporary. I'm still fucking hungry the next day. So I eat this big ass sandwich, okay? And I won't be hungry anymore. Actually, I will be hungry. I'll probably eat some more shit, but I can eat a lot. But let's say I do this. I eat this big ass sandwich, and let's say that it quells my hunger. Well, it's only temporary, right? So again, you said with the masturbation or sex, it's going to quell that desire temporarily, but then it's going to come back, and it's going to come back fierce, and you're going to be controlled by it again. Same thing we could say about hunger, right? I mean, it's the same thing here. It's like I use my hunger as a fuel to propel me forward, but I can also have it master me, right? My desire to eat some food, it can either be something that rules over me, right? And I can become really fat, and I can just let that desire completely rule my life. Or I can use that to fuel me. I can say, man, I'm fucking hungry. I'm going to bust my ass today so I can get something good to eat later on, okay? Or I'm fucking hungry. That's good. That means that I'm losing weight. That means that I'm getting ripped. I'm getting jacked right now. It's good that I'm hungry. This hunger feels good. It makes me feel alive. It makes me feel, that I've got something to live for, that I've got some motivation in my life. I've got something that I want, and so it makes me feel alive. You see what I'm saying? The same thing you can do with any desire. You can transmute that desire. So you have this desire for sex. So you could say, great, I feel like I'm a man. Like I feel like, there's so much beauty, so much that I want in this life, in this world, and it's out there, and it's great. And just knowing that it's out there makes me feel good. It makes me bust my ass and work hard, because I can get that if I'm diligent, if I'm willing to work, if I'm willing to become the best version of myself possible. So that's what you got to do, right? You can't get rid of desire, right? You can temporarily quell it, but what you got to figure out how to do is to tame it, and that's the thing that's really going to make the impact in your life and is going to solve your problem. It's not, don't let the desires rule over you. Instead, use them as a fuel to drive you forward. All right, that's all I got for you today. If you have not subscribed already and this hasn't weirded you the fuck out, click the subscribe button, click the bell so you don't miss any videos. I'll talk to you next time. Take care.